tradition.
Something that I believe that the energy is here with us.
You can bring them back.
We are here, or I'm here, but I'm going to die. Actually, it's only material, but who I am
Comes from
the energy that is speaking around in his mind, when he's inside, no? Because something very special for us, when that moment, when after the prayer crying, no? When I was like 7, 8 years, no? Old, 7 years old. After the crying, like when I was crying, all the people, I saw the
Te pones en el W.
the raining. Oh, that's it's real. The connection. For that, I received that heritage from my father,
grandfather. Sí, abuelo.
Because when the people I prepared in the opera,
Está al pie de Performing Arts College.
that you can buy in the market. Not all. You have to prepare with your.
Pero entonces atrás hay otro. Si vas ahí,
prepare for your parents, for your maybe your sister.
Pero debería de W1 o W2 debería de haber un puesto. Porque yo esta mañana fui y había.
Music and talking with them. Please come back.
Sí, W1 o W2.
Your orientation, your life.
Okay, sí.
Walk to the It's real. For that, my perspective about this is something I think I received very original. Like I would like that my daughter continue with this tradition. We believe this. Es una creencia, a lo mejor, pero es muy
I think you're
I think this is from the cortisol though, where did you live before Chicago?
He lives in Pueblo now.
He came from Amayaltepec, from Guerrero State. He crossed the border illegally.
Okay, that's what I want.
That's why he is in a good position to understand the suffering of the migrants, because he was mobbed at the border. He lived through repression. He, including in while being here, discrimination. So these things existed, but since he lived it, and now it's very different. Now he comes to do work as a guest. He had an article in the New York Times 10 years ago. He comes with a red carpet, but he knows what some fellow migrants who try to escape violence live through, extreme poverty, who try to just make a better living like anyone would do if we would be stuck here.
Well, my village is, the name of my village is Amayaltepec. My first language is Nahuatl, my Spanish.
Yes.
I spoke now from when I was 12 until like 6 years, because in my village only one grade of the primary school, only 1 year, because without lights, no lights, no cars, any car, nothing. And then when my teacher, only one teacher that was in my community, maybe he can understand that I have something. Maybe I will like to continue. Talk with my father. I recommend you please take Nicolás outside. I don't know where, but outside. You know somebody that lives in the city? Well, I have a father in Iguala. My father asked me, Nicolás, you want to continue to study in the city? Yes. It's not easy because we have to go into the canyon or to arrive to take the bus. 2 hours walking, take the bus to Iguala, the next city. When I went to the primary school to continue the second grade, same for 2 hours and a half, and continue to participate with my father, made the drawings. I started to draw maybe drawing like around 7 or 8 years. My older time looking to my father, parents, my mother making clay with the pottery. Yes, it's a traditional process. It's a prismatic process, not with the oil. No. It's something with the fingers, taking the stone from the river, the sand, mixing with the pochote, like cotton from the trees. ¿Cómo se llama? El algodón.
Algodón, cotton.
Todo natural. Everything natural. And then I write the matte paper on 1962 or 63 when I opened all my I saw that my
So basically what happened is there was a transition from the imagery that was on the traditional potteries that they had done for centuries that was passed on to the amate paper. And that connection with the amate paper, it was a paper made by the Otomi, another community. Otomi Indians did the paper. These guys did the potteries. And there was a member of the vanguard, Felipe Ehrenberg, precisely the one who wrote the article, who passed, who said, guys, instead of carrying these potteries for 2 hours on the hot road and try to sell them in the market, why don't you bring your iconography onto the paper? And the paper had a big history. It evolved, it became, one day they wanted to flood the territory, make a big hydroelectric plant that would have disappeared like some 19 villages. So the paper was converted into a combat sheet where people expressed their discontent and the flooding and the dangers and the death of their community. So we went from traditional motives of birds and flowers and marriages to things that were more political. And from there on, it just evolved and became basically free to talk about anything. What you brought was the technique of the etching, which allowed a different reproduction. And these etchings are made on a zinc copper plate with a fine point and pressed onto. You can see some images here. There's I call it the biographic pedestal, where you have images of the process. You see the wife, the daughter helping, pressing images onto that.
When I arrived to Iguala, I had this experience about discrimination because I didn't speak Spanish. So my mates, mis compañeros, well, just started laughing about me because my language they don't understand. There were that time we had more discrimination.
So there exists linguistic and ethnic discrimination. Mexico is very racist. What can I tell you? I lived there for nearly 10 years. There's a hierarchy, and it's a white